Mr. Toastmaster. Fiscal drama. You know what fiscal drama is? Well, tonight we're going to talk about two things that are very fiscal or financial. One, I'm going to give you, I hope, a simple explanation of what they call the fiscal cliff in America. And also, which is what Paul's holding up here. Paul's my prop, one of my props. And what he's holding up here is a cliff with America falling down here and heading for drowning. Come over here. That's it, better in the light there.
Like pen next time.
Because they talk about a cliff, but is it a fiscal cliff? Right. If we go over, this is what the real drama is in the world today. This is about America's economy. It looks very big figures. That's $2,170 trillion is the American tax revenue. It's a lot of money. However, it's not enough. Because America spends $3,820 trillion. So they reckon up heaps of money on their credit card over there to the tune of $1,650 trillion a year. Still sounds a lot, eh? They're adding, their total debt at the moment is $14,270 trillion. Just small change. In the recent, you have all that big discussion, they were going to save all this money and tax all the rich and all the rest of it. They saved themselves $38 billion. $38 billion. Nothing in the overall context of the amount of money they spend. So we'll have a look. America's population is about 313 million. Taxpayers is only 69 million, and you can bet a lot of them don't pay much at all. Generally, it's the rich. Percentage of taxpayers of the American public is only 22%. Now, just think about it. They're racking up this huge amount of debt, and only 22% of the population is going to try to pay it off. Can they? I don't know. US debt increases by $24,000 per taxpayer per year. Now, if you're going to just balance their budget, we have to find $24,000 from every taxpayer in the country just to get it even before we start paying it off. Do we think America's in trouble? I think America's in big trouble. Because if you're going to pay off that amount of money, you've got to do one of two things. Get more money or cut your spending. Now, if you had that amount of money and you were trying now, how am I going to find $24,000 per person? Can you imagine what the American politicians are trying to work out? How do I tax these people? You can't go around and tax everybody an extra $24,000. A lot of them don't earn that much. So you cut their spending, what are they going to live on? So somewhere along the way, there's a real drama here. To make it easier for you to understand, brought it back into little figures. We've just removed a lot of noughts. It's like you're having a family budget. You earn $21,700 a year, but you're spending $38,000. So you're whacking an extra 16 grand on your credit card every year. At the moment, your credit card balance is $142,000. You're only earning $21,000. You've got to eat. How are you going to pay it back? They just had this big savings over there, all this big hoo-ha about the politicians. You know how much they saved? $38.50 in the context of things. You're learning, Aldo? You're learning to be a financial planner, right? I should point out that I have a financial background. Now, Australia. Is Australia as bad as America? Let's hope not. Actually, Australia has quite a low debt. As a country, we have quite a low debt. And with all the problems over the last few years, everybody sort of said, hey, we don't want to go down that track. So all of a sudden, the Australian public have decided, hey, we're going to save money, we're going to reduce debt. And that's what they're doing in big heaps. And that's why Australia is travelling along so well compared to the rest of the world, is that most of the Australians must be reasonably forward thinkers, and they're saying, hey, we're not going down that path, we've got to pay off our debts. So we've got household debt is falling, our savings are increasing by superannuation or by other means. House prices and rents are high by world standards. We're one of the dearest housing countries in the world. And the risk to Australia is what? A housing crash. What would cause a housing crash in Australia? America falls over the cliff. If America falls over the cliff, we'll have a housing crisis. We'll have more than a housing crisis. House prices in Australia. We had a boom in 2003. All the capital cities' prices peaked in 2010. Currently, house prices are 6% below that peak. The last 5 years only went up by 1.9% per annum. Term deposits averaged 5%. So if you've invested in housing, you're going backwards. Not to mention you've got to pay rates and maintenance and all those types of things. Well. Will they increase? I say not very much. And you ask the question, why? Why? In 1981, a house price was about $48,000. Income was about $15,000, so the house was about 3.2 times your income. In 2013, the average price of houses is $408,000. Income is about $61,000, which I haven't written there, but that means house prices are 6.7 times the income today compared to 1981, which was only 3.2. Do you think house prices are going to go up? I don't think so. The simple reason if they go up any further, you'll end up with the very thing that nobody wants, a housing crash. Because the only winners were the homeowners that owned before 2003, before the boom peak. The losers, all those winners, all their children and grandchildren, because they can't afford to buy a house today. Because the people before 2003 have taken all the profit, the kids can't afford to buy it anymore. So where do they get that money from? From their parents. That's why they're all still living at home. The risk? The USA falls over the cliff, equals Australia, housing crash. In summary, house prices in the future can only grow at a slower pace than what our income increase. If they don't, we have a crash. So every time you ask for a pay rise, you've got to hope that house prices don't go up further. If they do, we're in a lot of trouble. in summary overall, the fiscal cliff is not solved. In about a month's time, American politicians are going to try to solve it again. If they don't, then America goes in a meltdown, because what they're going to do is they're going to increase taxes, slash spending, real slash and burn mentality, and that'll send America into a deep recession. And when America goes into deep recession, the rest of the economy in the world will follow, and Australia will have a housing crash. Mr. Toastmaster.